Hello and welcome to another baseball video, and today we are going to talk about Progressive Field of the Cleveland Guardians.
McKay has the 97 home run for the Aces. Oh my goodness! Yes! It's the day! Wow, that was awesome.
They started in the Western League Park in 1896 to 1899, and then they became the Romana Park in 1899. Then they became the League Park in 1900 to 1932, and then 1934 to 1945. The park was actually built for the Cleveland Spiders. The first game was against the Reds, and Cy Young was actually the pitcher. And he got the Spiders to win the game, a 12-3 victory. The Spiders got second place in a NL in 1892, 1995, and 1896. And they won the 1995 Temple Cup and an early version of the modern National League Championship season in 1895. Some of the Spiders basically went to the St. Louis Browns because somehow enough the owner somehow was like part of like Cleveland or something. Went to St. Louis and owned, like, now is like the owner of the St. Louis Browns. Later they were the AL, and then they changed them in the AL in the 1900s. Obviously, that was the time when they changed their name as the Cleveland Indians, and they did win the World Series in 1920. Jim Don wants to rename the park as Dunn Field in 1916. 1907, review of female pitching sensation of Alta Wise. In 1908, Addis Joss pitch a perfect game against the White Sox, and then he did something again in 1911 with a benefit game for the team to change to the AL. Elmer Smith hit his first grand slam in the World Series, so this is like first like grand slam in World Series, so people like making history. Jim Bagby hit a home run by a pitcher in the World Series. So hearing about like a pitcher hitting in the World Series. Bill Wambasgans got a triple play in the World Series. So again, more history happening. In 1929, Babe Ruth hit his 500 career home run. In 1941, Joe DiMaggio his 56-game hitting streak. Then they became the Cleveland Stadiums to 1932 to 1933, 1937, and 1993. Len Barker pitched a perfect game in 1981. Ted Williams hit his 500 career home runs. 1990, Dave Stebb pitched the first no-hitter. Then the now we going to the stadium is now present is Progressive Field from 1994 to present time. In 2007, in a American League Division Series against the Yankees, midges from Lake Erie enveloped the playing field. Jabba Chaparalian, which caused him to walk. Gray Sizemore later scored the tying run on a wild pitch. And obviously, Grady Sizemore is actually Fuzzy's favorite player on the Indians. And then the Indians became known as the Bug Game. However, this was not the first time the Indians plagued Jacobs Field. Speaking of Jacob Field, did you guys even remember hearing that field before? Like, that's like a very like oddistic like name for a baseball field. And then, funnily enough, we got our retired number: Earl Averill, Lou Barrow, Larry Doby, Mel Harder, Bob Feller, Frank Robinson, Bob Mellon, Jim Thome, Jackie Robinson, I meant to say. And that's pretty much it for Progressive Field. I never been to the stadium before. A lot of history, I guess. You know, it is kind of crazy just like hearing about Cleveland Spiders. The first time I ever heard Cleveland Spiders was from Fuzzy, basically. There was even a time where enough of when Francisco Lindor was basically going to leave Cleveland and going to like the New York Mets, where he's at right now, and stuff. And they were thinking about keeping Lindor on Cleveland, and they were also thinking about changing the name because of the name of the Indians and stuff. So now there are the Guardians and stuff. So it's just kind of interesting. It's something about, I guess, Cleveland in some ways and stuff. Obviously, they're trying to make us more a positive way, a positive name to the team and stuff. So I totally understand that and stuff. But this was the time, like, it was going downhill for Cleveland and stuff. And hearing about, like, they're losing Lindor, they're about to get, like, a new name and all this stuff. And when Fuzzy was basically talking about of enough of like, oh, they might keep Lindor, it'd be cool of enough of they might keep, like, you know, their captain of their team and stuff to make as his own team, you know, call him the Cleveland Lindor and stuff, if so, you know. So like, that's what I've heard. And then there was other things where enough of what other names they could possibility would take and stuff. And that's where enough of he said about like, oh, maybe they can call them the Cleveland Spiders. And I never heard of that before. It's just a very interesting name and stuff. I don't know why spiders, you know. That's that. And then after I heard some things, like I like look up like some knowledge stuff and found out of enough for all the Hall of Fame players in baseball. And fortunately for Cy Young, basically made the Hall of Fame as a Cleveland Spider, and I never knew that as well and stuff. So I never knew Cleveland Spider was a thing in the 1800s, and I never knew Cy Young played for the Cleveland Spiders. I would like to go to this stadium. It's pretty cool. I'm feeling have cool energy in Cleveland and stuff. If I'm actually going to go to Progressive Field, I might go to the Red Stadium as well and stuff, because both of them are in Ohio. And then the only thing enough about, you know, I would talk about, it's funny enough to knowing about the Progressive Field and stuff. It's interesting enough, they might have like a lot of sponsors about Progressive in a way and stuff. And I just love the commercials. They're like hilarious and stuff.
Don't be coy.
Think a second. Have we seen this shirt before?
Progressive. But you know what? I'm still gonna get it.
That's pretty much it for that. Next field we will talk about is probably Coors Field of the Colorado Rockies. So get hyped for that, because that will be next. Hope you like this video. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more content like this, and have a nice day, and thank you for watching.